action group. It has been postponed ilang beses na ito na hindi matuloy. But finally, ito ngayon, matutuloy na rin. It's really a privilege and an honor to be a part of this and to share with you some of my thoughts and experiences. Anyway, how did I get involved with maritime, so to speak, as a backgrounder? Coming from Mount Everest, I think carry over ng adrenaline of adventure, I thought of what's next. And suddenly, what struck me about why Filipinos afraid of the water. So it's about our affinity with the water and maritime consciousness. So my brief talk this afternoon is about public engagement with maritime heritage and reawakening the Balangay spirit in the Filipino consciousness. Basically, about us as a maritime people, how come we lost it, and the attempt to reawaken and to revive it, and what can be done, especially from the stakeholders, mostly in gobyerno. Maraming magawa niyan. So let me start. I would like to share with you my slides. Ito na. For a while. Okay.
Sa ating po mga audiences, paki-thumbs up naman po o heart kung nakikita po natin ang screen ni Sir Art. Yan po, sir.
Ayan na. Ilan ba lahat ang nandito yung mga participant natin ngayon, Mark? Mga ilan tayo ngayon?
Sir, ngayon po, 31 po all in all.
Hindi marami din. Anyway, so we all know about the Philippines. We're made up of 7,000 islands, and by nature and geography, we're a maritime state. Long before the colonials arrived, mga dayuhan, our ancestors were prolific seafarers, traders, raiders. For a while. Okay. Balik. Our ancestors were great seafarers. They were traders, they're navigators, part of one of the greatest migration in human history, the Austronesian migration. We came from mainland Asia, and I think by the time we can build bigger boats, indeed, we built these boats and start the great Austronesian migrations. Our sea serves as our highways. They're not barriers. The Balangay, the Parao, the Karakoa, these were not just boats. They were bridges that connect the islands and extension of our identity. Trade, migration, diplomacy, even warfare, all revolve around the sea. So talagang we're really a sea people. Rizal wrote about this vibrant and flourishing maritime trade, maritime activity of the ancient Filipinos, from his annotations of Morga, Success de las Islas Filipinas, reading the writings of Pigafetta, Chirino. Well, I think everybody knows about it. Rizal painted a striking picture of pre-colonial maritime activity. The background behind that, why did Rizal look back into our past, especially touching on Morga? Because I think he was into a debate with Spanish journalists of his time, and they were really downgrading Filipinos. Yung ating mga Indios, Rizal didn't believe that we are like that as described by them. So he wrote about this. But anyway, upon the arrivals of the colonials in the 16th century, they saw that the seas around those islands were gleaming like emeralds floating in glass, were alive with ships, junks, Parao, Balangay, and Bintas, some so large they carried 100 rowers on each side. I can just imagine that's why I got some of these old pictures about this mga this balangay, this paraw, uh, this bintas, because if you have to compare yung when Columbus crossed the Atlantic, I think ang laki lang ng haba ng kanyang sakyan was only about 19 meters. I don't know if I can remember Santa Maria, yun ba? Ayun kay Magellan, mga 22 meters. And, here we are, we're building boats with more than 100 rowers on one side. Of course, iba't iba yun. Hindi na together na um, they are paddling on one side, minsan doble yung sa outrigger, but still, they build napakalaking sakyan. Ito ang mga, and then, iba't ibang mga sakyan at that time that they were able to build. Joanga, these war boats that they have, the Balangay, Silipsipan, and all sort. But then, when the colonials came in here, the sea were full of activity. The seas were gleaming with seacraft of all different shapes and sizes. And there was so much life everywhere. The sea bore commerce, industry, agriculture, and they moved by the rhythm of their oars and the songs of their people. When they paddle, they oral. They celebrated their heroes and divinities. I don't know, maybe one of the description of that ancient kingdom might be Butuan, because that's where they built that ancient boat. In short, our ancestors lived in a very dynamic maritime society, economically, culturally, and spiritually oriented toward the sea. It was a civilization powered by the sea. Indeed, before the coming of the colonials, our life revolves around the sea. We're sea people. The sea is we're like, we're born out of the sea, we're natural with the sea, and we hardly live outside of that affinity to that big bodies of water. Yet, if you remember today, and that's what I've discovered, many Filipinos feel culturally distant from this vital aspect of their storied past. We hardly remember about even the exploit of our ancestors. The Malay name Panglima Awang or Enrique de Malacca was brought by Magellan to Spain and then came back here through a circumnavigation, but is hardly recognized. And our people lose sight that we're a maritime people. They're afraid of the sea. They find something wrong pag maghanap sila, kahit sumakay lang ng malaking barko, they're so afraid about it. How did we lose sight of our maritime identity? And how can we revive it? Well, how did we lose it? Basically, the answer to this is colonialism. When the Spanish came in the 16th century, did not build on their seafaring skills, prowess, and tradition. Instead, they dismantle it through settlement policies. Talagang they cut it off. Through the resettlement policies like the reduction, well, we can call it modern days hamleting, just like what the Americans did in Vietnam. They moved the people inland. From the coast, they moved it inland. Movement was restricted. The focus shifted from the sea to the land. And not only that they brought them inland to their pueblos, they put them in front of the church. So the vision of the ancient Filipinos slowly moved inland, not only inland, it's also upward to the church steeple. That's how they were built in there. And then the next one also is the forced servitude. Our people were forced to work 40 days, I think, libre, to build those galleons. They discouraged us to build our natural boats like the Balangay. That's why when I built the boat, nagtatanong ako kung sino pang marunong makagawa ng sakayan. I come from the Visayas, I check. I know, I remember, gumagawa kami ng yung batil, yung mansuryan, but even with that, is quite rare. So I asked the National Museum, sino pang marunong gumawa nito? And they said, either I go to Batanes or I go to Tawi-Tawi. I just wonder why at the extremities, I think the reason behind, hindi naabutan masyado ng colonial control that the people were able to maintain their culture of shipbuilding. So the result, when we moved the people from the coast to inland into the pueblos, what the Spaniards did, the result was a rupture. A people once bound together by the sea were alienated from it. Over centuries, when the colonial period stretched from decades to centuries and everything, we have lost that consciousness. And then come modern times, everything started to move inland and with land-centric policies that were developed because many of the elites studied in the Western world, and the model is development is through the land. What happened is that we overcrowded our land. There was this urbanization, and if you have seen on the slide, that's how we are right now. Even our educational system reinforced that. I thought after sailing around and with the great welcome that I have around, sana the Department of Education should have been able to pick it up to bring us back to the sea. But rather than develop yung sports natin, playing with Western games, why don't we teach them along the coast how to sail? Sumakay o kahit magbugsay lang sa mga bangka. So, ang nangyari, the memory of our maritime heritage faded. Filipinos suffered what I call maritime amnesia. We began to see ourselves not as one maritime nation, but as fragmented islands. Our maritime soul was forgotten. And that's how I found out why Filipinos ultimately takot sa dagat. And ako naman, maybe part because of adventure, I built a boat and sailed it around the Philippines, Southeast Asia, and to China. But, somehow you feel, it is in our DNA, I can feel exactly the affinity towards the sea. So that's the very reason I put together ultimately the Balangay boat and sailed around. And everywhere, there was such a grand welcome. So the second question, can we revive it? Yes, we can. But we have to do a lot of work to do this. But what I did, yung Balangay was the beginning. So it was against this backdrop of forgetfulness. When Filipinos have forgotten that they are a sea people, that we launched this Balangay boat. And I have a good partner there from Butuan, the Butuan Global Forum, or CIC is a part of that, Sinieres and Judy Navarra. This is inspired by the same spirit that took us to the Mount Everest. We built replicas of the ancient Balangay and sailed it in the challenging waters of the Philippines and beyond. Kaya dito sa Philippines, ang tubig dito talagang very challenging. If you move about 10 degrees north from the equator, medyo active na masyado yung dagat. So, let me just walk you through the building of the Balangay boat. Because I built this Balangay boat on how I built it the way it was. I got the National Museum, si Greg uh, Greg Santiago was the one that assisted us with uh, the people in the National Museum. And we built it the way it was. In the picture, ito mga taga Sitangkay at taga Sibuto. And this is laying down the keel. So let me just be quick about this. And then the first plank, ako yung trying to hit the first plank into the keel. On my left side, ito mga taga Mount Everest, yung sa kaliwa, yung the first Filipino to climb Mount Everest. And sa center is the first Filipino to reach the summit when they make the world record traverse Mount Everest, yung doon na sa gitna. Ito si Leo, the first Filipino. So, if you look at it, this is the boat that you can find it. This is what the remains of the Balangay in the museum in Butuan. So, luck. Ito din ang ginawa namin. Try to be as faithful as we can. It has wooden pegs. We also have wooden pegs. Ito, last lug. Of course, ang last lug nila, ang ginagamit nila, Cabo Negro. Mahirap ang Cabo Negro hanapin ngayon. So, ratan lang ginamit namin. But at the same time, this is how you will have to finish ang mga ginagamit na mga kuwan. Yung anchor namin, well, I found out it cannot hold us, but we try to use this original anchor. Yung marble, tawag ng mga taga Tawi-Tawi, itong parang yung rope, ginagamit ito sa waterproofing. And these are the tools they're using. Itong parang tomahawk, itong tinatawag lang patok. And ito naman, and these are the pegs. Itong kanang parang hammer, ito pang ipit, sipit. When they try to align the planks, itong sipit, itong patok, and then the pegs. And of course, when we built it, the news came out from the mountain. We are now going towards the sea. Itong mga tools they are using. And we built the first boat, Diwata ng Lahi, dyan sa Cultural Center of the Philippines. It's so beautiful. Actually, after I built the boat, masaya na ako Parang, para sa akin, satisfied na ako. Sabi ko, okay na ito. Napakagandang boat ang ginawa nila. And even at that, sabi, para sa akin, tama na. But, they said the boat builders from Tawi-Tawi, from the island of Sibuto and Sitangkay. Of course, when we're building it, yung ambassador ng US, si Christie, yung pinaka-dynamic, palagi nandoon, nanood na namamanday kami. Ilang mga ambassador ang mga nandoon Kasi we're just there at the Cultural Center. Of course, our sailing route, ito, we pass through. In the beginning, gitna, itong ruta. Itong ruta namin, of course, umikot kami dito. Hindi kami nakaabot ng China the first time. Hanggang dito lang kami sa Vietnam, and then we cross back again. Well, during the course of our voyage, ito lang, let me just walk through. This is what we've been doing. We were active in every port. This is a way of trying to engage the people and seeing the kind of people coming in, riding on that ancient boat, totally burned by the sun, but they were so excited. And everywhere, the crowds were so huge, unbelievable. Parang, but that was about, kailan ba yun? About 2009, 2010. So that's about more than 16 years ago. Malalaki na lahat siguro ng mga bata nito. Nagle-lecture kami sa may port. Ito sa may Conception Island, dyan sa may study campo dyan across sa Pinamalayan, sa Mindoro. And everywhere, even these are all the people that met us abroad. And pag medyo tumagal kami because ang weather masama, we try to optimize our time and we taught them about disaster preparation. So may mga senaryo kami, may lumubog, may nasugatan, because part of my team are experts on disaster management. And everywhere, we also interact with the IPs. They provided us the wood to build the boat. And we did actual rescue. Ito, lumulubog ito. Malulunod na ito sa Agusan River. And here is my team. Magagaling ito, mga search and rescue, mga special operation group ito ng Coast Guard, and some of them. And we did rescue. And there were really encounters along the way. May mga barilang kami nadaanan, mga Muslim rebels, and then may mga nasugatan. So we ended up treating them nito with the shelter activity. But everywhere, this is the kind of crowd that meet us. And so, and we taught the kids that you can do anything, kaya ng Pinoy. Because we showed them mga videos and slides of what we have done. That the team members came from different corners of this country. Some came from Bukidnon, some from Vizcaya. They're no different from these kids, but because they were given some opportunities and they set their sight onto something greater, nakaya nila. And look at the crowds ito. Yung ito punong-puno ito. By that time siguro ito sira na ito ito sa Bugo eh. And yung latest na earthquake niya na 6.9, I think the port. But you know, when we dock in there, we can hardly move with this crowd meeting us. And everywhere, we did our own lecture right there sa port. Ito, you know, seeing this picture again, you know, you get your touch and moved by the excitement of the people. This is in Olotanga, in Cotabato. And you know, when we dock, I was surprised that pati yung mga barko na yan namulaklak para i-welcome kami. But this one is the one that really touched me at all. I was entering Agusan River. Siyempre, with all the excitement, the big welcome, first time the Balangay came back to Butuan, coming from Manila. And then, as we're sailing, I saw in the corner of my eye a group of kids with suyuds, a flag. You know, this is a small purok on the bank of the Agusan River, and these kids carrying a big Philippine flag, much bigger, and just to welcome us. Itong flag na ito, I don't think they have it with them. Most likely, na malaman na darating kami sa eskwela nila, baka kinuhan lang bandila nila. Pagkatapos, they brought it there and then wave it to us. I was touched by it because it was such a grand welcome, simple, but the flag really welcome us in. So I keep this every time my presentation, that these are kids, and this flag will only come from their own flagpole. They brought it down to welcome us with this big, huge flag. Well, anyway, so let me continue. It was actually, yung Balangay simply was an adventure to trace the migration of our ancestors from mainland Asia. But along the way, we discovered something deeper, that the Balangay could touch the very core of our identity. Talagang, it was through this voyage that we encountered with the people that we awakened a revival of our maritime spirit. We realized that maritime heritage is not the sole domain of scholars or government institutions, nor should it remain confined to museums. Maritime heritage must sail, and that's what we did. It must inspire. It was a living reality, and you can see it with all the crowds that meet us everywhere, including this children bringing this flag. It must sail. Maritime heritage must sail. It must inspire. It must believe, shared, and experienced by our people. That is why public engagement is not optional. It is mandatory. Public engagement is not optional. It must be mandatory. And this, I think, institution, especially government, should really put their focus and trust into this. To give you an idea about about that, it should not be optional. Climbing Everest, going up, of course, is optional. You can attempt to the summit, but you can decide because option. But reaching the summit, coming down, that's mandatory. So climbing Everest to the summit is optional, but going down is mandatory. This time, public engagement must really be optional. We experience this maritime energy everywhere. We drop anchor. More than 70 ports and coastal communities across the country. We were met by thousands of Filipinos, especially the youth. They came not just to see a boat, but to reconnect with something long buried in their memory. I can see that in the enthusiasm of these people, of these kids, and the coastal communities that they visited. The Balangay became a floating classroom, a living museum, a platform for cultural pride. And so, when we sailed beyond our shores to Southeast Asia and across the South China Sea, the Balangay became more than a national symbol. It became a bridge of Austronesian solidarity, proof of our shared heritage with other seafaring people. It was cultural diplomacy in action. If you look at our screen background, that's really the ASEAN logo that they have. Ginamit nila yung color ng Balangay. And we're honored to have them copied it. And so, if you look at it, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs was giving her briefing yesterday. Ito din ang background. Of course, we have the same background. So let me just run through yung ikot namin. Ito ang Balangay when we're crossing Singapore Strait. Our resources at the time was only good up to Singapore, as we promised that the Balangay will go out across Southeast Asia, but alam ko yung resources ko was only good up to Singapore. But pag naka-abroad ka, okay na din ako, na-promise ko na makalabas kami. But then, San Miguel, Ramon Ang, was kind enough to provide us enough resources to sail around. So if you have noticed, in the earlier mga sailboat namin, wala, hindi makita. Ang earlier sailboat namin, walang logo. Ito may logo na ngayon because San Miguel was very kind enough to supply us with resources na this time we're confident that we can go around, and when you have enough resources, you feel safer, especially if you face the challenges sa dagat. So, ito ang the whole crew, kasi tatlong sakayan. When we drop anchor in Batam, in Indonesia. So, there are about total of 29 of us. May dalaw pang advance party that is arranging our arrival. So, let me just run through. When we dock at, ito sa Kota Kinabalu, this is the Minister of Tourism ng Sabah, sa gitna. Pumasok. They went to the boat and rode in the boat. Ito naman, Terenggano. Binigyan kami ng mga attire ng mga local sa Malaysia. And this is the Minister of Tourism of Brunei, yung nakaputi. Sinundon na kami sa gitna ng dagat at sumakay siya. And then dinala kami sa kanilang museum. And I saw something similar to the Balangay. They called it Peraho, blank boat, pare-pareho din. Just like Indonesia is called Peraho or Juanga or Pinisi. Iba't ibang mga pangalan, but blank built boat din lahat. And this is when we passed by Singapore. We're welcomed by the Singapore Royal Yacht Club. Nagpalitan kami ng mga layag ng Yacht Club kasi my host is the Manila Yacht Club. Ito ang banner ng Manila Yacht Club. Ito naman ang Singapore. At may mga giveaways kami. And this is in Thailand. Ito ang mga embassy natin, mga ambassador, welcome us when we dock at Thailand, doon sa along the river. Everywhere. So, thus the Balangay is not just a boat. It is a it is a it was a it is a bridge of Austronesian solidarity, proof of shared heritage with other seafaring people. It was cultural diplomacy in action. The Balangay is not just a boat, it is a compass, pointing us back to our archipelagic soul, challenging centuries of amnesia, and showing us who we truly are. Well, more than a century ago, Rizal foresaw this in his essay, The Philippines a Century Hence. He imagined a day when he said that when freed from colonial rule, Filipinos would rediscover their maritime vigor. He wrote, perhaps the people will revive their maritime and commercial activities, where they're good at. And then like the birds that leave its cage, like the flowers that blooms and return to the open air, they will discover their good old qualities. That was the dream of Rizal. Rizal's vision was not just a political freedom. It was cultural emancipation. It was about restoring the Filipino spirit, including our maritime way of life. And that's really the hope and dream of Rizal. And, I think without knowing it, what we're trying to do is we're trying to put our little effort in trying to revive that consciousness. Why does this matter today about reviving the maritime heritage engagement with public engagement with maritime heritage? Why does it matter today? Because the Philippines faces challenges that demand a maritime mindset. Climate change threatens coastal and inland communities. Marine resources are under pressure from overfishing and pollution. Geopolitical tension in the West Philippine Sea remind us that sovereignty is as much maritime as it is territorial. And reviving the Balangay spirit is therefore not just about heritage. It is about strengthening national identity, unity, and resilience in the face of 21st century challenges. To path forward to institutionalize this reawakening, we must integrate maritime history into our education so young Filipinos grow up knowing their seafaring roads. Itong ginawa namin, kahit doon lang sa coastal with the Balangay as the background, my team, they have imbibed that already. They do the lecture and it's a living reality and it just have so much impact. Promote community-based maritime projects such as heritage boat, coastal conservation, and sea transport innovation. Foster partnership with government, academia, and civil society to safeguard both cultural and national maritime heritage. And then develop community-based tourism. Marami lang gawin kung talagang ma-institutionalize yan. I think many people have more brilliant ideas to make it happen. But as I conclude this, of course, ito ng 6 Balangay ginawa ko. Galing kami dito sa West Philippine Sea. Umabot kami doon sa Pag-asa Island. And ayun, just to give you a rundown nito, short lang. Ito effort, ito yung atin, ito movement is really a powerful one and should be encouraged and developed. The strategic value of maritime heritage, it's strengthening our national identity, embed ecological values in maritime education. Ito during our voyage, we do coastal cleanup. Ito, I think it is in ito sa taas sa Dumaguete ito. This is in front of their boulevard. I think somewhere here, this is somewhere in Mindahingo ata. And then we do also, we'll get invited and we do lectures in the mga radio station because we were asked to speak in the radio because nagtanong sila, ba't ang liit ng galyon? Kasi yung boat namin maliit. And announcer, itong boat ng panahon ni Magellan. So people thought it's a galleon. So we have to explain to them, balangay yan, di galleon yun. Ang galleon, di atin yun. So we did all of this. And I'm just integrating this in our as a integration sa national planning. Ang maritime development, hindi gaano. It's just touching on the surface. All of it are really concentrated sa land. Just give you about ang impact ng voyage namin. Yung, alam mo, at that time when we're sailing around, yung news about the killing in Luneta, yung mga taga Hong Kong, was so much in the news of every cities na tinaanan namin. But everywhere, nandun kami, sabay, lalo na sa Borneo. Katapat namin, mas laki pang news about the Balangay. Positive news than negative news about the Philippines. Because, you know, we were all over the news during our voyage. Napakaraming kwan. Kaya nananalo kami diyan sa Anvil Award. Grand Anvil kami sa Everest, Grand Anvil kami sa Balangay. Ito lately, yung libro ko, yung Everest book to, Anvil Award pa rin kami. So every time, no, this is in a write-up when we're in Hong Kong, 5-page write-up ng South China Morning Post. And just to show the impact of what I'm doing, in terms of Filipino consciousness, ang Balangay, hindi nakagawa ang SWS, but yung sa Everest, you look at it, we're the third most talked about story in 2005-2006, only beaten by evacuation in Lebanon and Guimaras oil spill. Ang Milenyo, puro negative. Ang positive, 63. We're only about 2 points away from being on top. Ibig sabihin, ang mga ating tao, they love and embrace stories like this. And that is such the impact of that. Well, just to give you the best part, hindi naman lahat puro challenging. Nanghuli kami ng mga isda. And this is how I look like after 2 years of sailing. But it was not always kalmada ang dagat. We also go through very challenging waters. Yung naglalaya kami, tingnan mo, mas na lang makita dyan. Alam mo kung saan lugar ito? Yung lately lang may maraming namatay na 15 dyan sa Sarangani Bay. Yung sa Balot Island. When you enter Davao Gulf, ito. That water is very challenging. Parang, ano tawag nito? Parang labador. Parang, how do you wash? Ano yung kwan? It's like, no, but the water has no direction. And this is the kind of waters that we have made. Kala nyo malulunod kami. Yung bangka, hindi lulubog yun. Lulutang-lutang lang yan. So, you know, this is the first voyage. Since we don't know anything, maganda din kung walang alam ka, hindi ka masyadong matakot na ma-encounter mo. After going through all of this, if I'll be asked to do it all over again, parang mag-iisip na ako. But, you know, I'll discuss with you that there's a possibility that I'll be sailing again. This is in Indonesia. Inabutan kami ng bagyo when we crossing South China Sea. Napadpad kami sa Indonesia. For 1 week, wala kaming makitang isla. But, coming home, it was like that. We were welcome by the president, and they were honored. They gave us an honor. So, about that. So, in conclusion, the Balangay is the tool to reconnect the present with our glorious historical past. As the song, ang paglalayag ng Balangay, sabay-sabay nagbubugsay, we have that kanta that was, we have that song that was composed by Dr. Ted, and it goes very brief. Ang paglalayag ng Balangay, sabay-sabay nagbubugsay, teach us that no one reaches the shore alone. The boat moves only when every hand rows together, every crew member plays their part, and the community believes in the journey. In the same way, public engagement with maritime heritage is about collective action. It is about Filipinos recognizing once more that indeed we are a maritime people, heirs to an illustrious seafaring legacy, and stewards of the seas that connect us. Let us then ensure that the Rizal hope becomes reality, that the Filipino revive their maritime spirit, reclaim their inheritance, and embrace their responsibility as guidance of our seas. In closing, I yearn and pray. Oh, what happened to this? In closing, I yearn and pray for the day when every Filipino child, whether in the mountains of Luzon or the farthest barangay Mindanao, will know that to be Filipino is to be a seafarer, a voyager, a proud heir and custodian of the Balangay spirit. And I yearn and pray for the day when our Congress will declare the Balangay as a national boat. Hanggang ngayon, nakabitin pa din yan, declaring the Balangay as a national boat. May we continue to sail forward. Itong picture namin, itong Mount Everest team, yung grupo namin na umakyat ng Mount Everest, the full team. May we continue to sail forward, guided by the stars of our past and the winds of our shared future. Maraming salamat at mabuhay for you to give much time to listen to this brief presentation. Mabuhay ang bansang Pilipino, kaya ng Pinoy.
Mabuhay po tayong lahat at maraming salamat po Sir Art sa napakagandang presentation. So, hindi lang po tayo nabigyan ng pagkakataon na makita kung ano aspeto ng Balangay. Narinig din po natin ang magandang singing voice ni Sir Art.
hindi talaga. Pinipilit talaga.
Sir,
But,
Sir, naka-record na yan. It's gonna be in YouTube forever.
Well,
so right now,
ang skills na yan is with my brother. Yung brother ko si Leo Valdez, so sa kanya na yan. Ako,
yes, sir.
adventurero lang ako.
Sir, brother niyo si Leo Valdez?
Oh, he does all the singing. Ako,
okay.
wala ako.
Naku, sir, ngayon ko lang nalaman niya na ako ay nanonood ng play. Brother niyo pala yun.
nga, Miss Saigon sa Miss Saigon.
Yes, sir, Miss Saigon, definitely. So anyways, we're going to open the floor sa ating pong mga questions, sa ating pong mga panelists. So, isa po napakagandang topic for today. So you can type in your messages sa ating pong chat box. You can also raise your hand if you want to speak live sa ating pong Zoom channel. Anyways, basahin ko po itong unang question po ni Mr. Marvin Tejada. So sir, kanina lang nabanggit po natin na meron pong challenges doon sa napakalalaking alon while sailing there at kayo po ay nawala sa Indonesia. So ang sabi po dito ni Sir Marvin is, how did you able to navigate rough seas and inclement weather situation, and how does logistical challenges were overcome by the team? Sir, paano po yung pagkain, naubusan, yung tubig? Paano po ba yun, sir?
Well, anyway, alam mo, ang Balangay boat is made of wood. As much as possible, I don't like to sail at night. So pag may nakita akong mga communities o mga isla, paggabi, I stop. And that is where we get our supply, our water. But yung waters ng Southern Philippines, yung Sulu, Sea hanggang Malaysia, hanggang abot ka doon ng Vietnam, napakaraming isda. We only catch enough for the day because wala kaming refrigeration. But sana I wish I could have a video about showing you na yung long line. Kasi in our boat, nandun pa yung mga yung mga Sama, the Sama tribe. Kasi I brought them with us because sila marunong mamanday eh. Paano, minsan nabubutasan kami, nababawra kami, sila sumisisid at tumatapal ng butas doon sa hull ng boat. So, magaling sila mangisda and we catch enough fish. But how do we manage? Well, when we encounter really rough weather na hindi na kaya, takbo din sila sa akin. Kasi siyempre ako kulang din. What do I know about it? You know, kami lahat, yung when we let the boat jump from the cultural center, none of us were sailors. We're just adventurer. But sabi ko, di bali, matuto kayo maglayag along the way. And we did learn along the way. But then, at times, you know, when you're facing great waves and all of that, ako tuloy-tuloy pa din ako. But then suddenly, sabi ng Sama, di sabi Sama Badyaw, sir, hindi na kaya ng sakyan natin, sir. Paano na lang tayo? And so, we turn around. And so, wherever the waves and the wind will blow us, when we encounter yung mga masamang panahon, balik lang kami pag maganda ng panahon. And how many times napapadpad kami? At one time, crossing South China Sea, we hit a local storm. We're blown towards Indonesia. In the island, yung Natuna, yung area na yan, in the island of Batam. Doon kayo napadpad. And then, thank God, in 18 months of sailing, at least I can be, what I can say and be proud about, I brought my whole team safely back to their families, all of them. That's what I would call my greatest accomplishment. Pinauwi ko lahat at dinala ko lahat ang aking team back home to their families.
So sir, ano po yun? 18 months po kayong naglayag. So paano po yung pagkain nyo, yung tubig? Paano po yun? Tinipid nyo po ba? O meron talaga kayong dalang tunet na nilagang mo supply?
Yung tubig namin, Juan, I told you, I sail only during daytime. Kung may mga isla kong makita, pag nighttime, hapon na, nagdadak ako, drop anchor. At punta kami sa community at mamili kami ng tubig. Yung isda, walang problema, maraming isda. But mamili kami ng mga pagkain. And then, as we sail around, syempre, coordinated, may advance party kami, coordinated yan sa mga embassies natin. They send representative from our foreign embassies, foreign post. And then, nandun na, at times, naganda sila ng mga pagkain, binibigyan sila ng pagkain. So, masaya. Yung welcome namin everywhere. But, pagkain, we never run out of food. Ang nakakatakot kasi paggabi, hindi ka makita sa radar. Pag napakalaking barko, halos hindi maramdaman pag nasagasaan ka na. Actually, that's outside of Baguio. My greatest fear is to be overrun by yung malaking barko. You can see them because we're sailing along heavily traffic, maritime traffic area. Lalo na crossing Singapore Strait. Crossing Singapore Strait, hindi kayo payagan ng vessel traffic officer, yung BTMS, yung traffic officer dyan ng Singapore Strait na nabombantay. Hinahanapan kami ng IMO registration. Hinahanapan kami kung ano-ano pa. Wala kami. This is an ancient boat. Wala kami mga registration. So, hindi kayo payagan. Nakita mo yung tatlong boat nagko-cross yun. So, I have to call up our embassy and they make representations that we're a cultural boat trying to sail again. No, pinayagan kami tumawid. And so, notice to all maritime, may NUTAM sila. Philippine cultural boat going to cross. Sikat na sikat kami pag-cross namin. While we're crossing, may radio kami. Yung ilang may radio ka para makatawag ka din doon sa port. Pero may short short distance lang yan. Mami, ang radio namin na-crack. Kabayan, kabayan. Sabi ng boys, kabayan, kabayan. Tahingin naman ng beer dyan, oh. Yung logo ng beer ng Diyos nandun. And you know, I met that guy finally. Yung seafarer na yan. Taga Butuan. Sabit ko siya. After a few years in Butuan, siya daw yung tumawag sa amin. So, we're fine. We never run out of food. And marami mga isda. And yung sakay namin, paggabi na, lalo na pag bad weather, na wala kaming mapag-drop ang Quran, we tied ourselves to the boat. And my instruction is that whatever happened, we stayed in the boat. Because ang aming boat, hindi lulubog yan eh. Pero pwedeng umikot yan pag hinampas ng malaking alon. But anyway, so far, yung alon na nakita namin, nakapaglaro na may sumakay eh, na inaanod lang kami. But of course, well, I sound like parang matter of fact, well, when you're into it, din, nakakatakot din. And you know what we're doing when we encounter a situation like that? There's nothing left. You know what? The only thing you can do is to pray. You pray hard. You pray hard that the Lord still has something planned for you.
That's right,
Ganun
sir.
ang
And sir,
ginagawa namin.
maliban po sa nangyari pong dyan, sir, nakita ko po na you really had an adventure of a lifetime na madami po sa amin na hindi po may experience na, sir. So that's actually something that you can be really proud of. Now, so let's just proceed po dito po sa question po ng isa po ating attendees. Nag-raise po siya ng hand, si Mr. Maynard Joseph Penalosa. Sir, do you have a question?
Maynard.
Yes, hello.
Maynard,
Hello, Sir Art. Pleasure. Can you hear me?
Maynard. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Good to hear you. Good
Yes.
to talk to you again. Yes, you're
Yes, sir.
loud and clear, Maynard.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful historical brief, and at the same time the inspiration for us to revisit our maritime heritage.
Yeah.
I'm also a keen avid sailor, and then copying, is there a way that we could involve the youth as how Indonesia involves their youth in their Jukung festivals? Kasi doon sa Indonesia, nagsisimula yung Jukung festival with kids building toy models of the Jukung, tapos kinakarera nila to sa seashore. Tapos pagkatapos nun, meron silang youth na mga teens na nagsasale ng mga junior Jukung, and then the event gets capped off by the professional adult Jukung races. In para lang for clarity, yung Jukung ay national boat po ng Indonesia na parang paraw. And malapit sa balangay natin, malapit sa paraw natin. So, is there a way that we could emulate what the Indonesians have done with their impetus to revive the maritime community? Likewise, what the Marshall Islands did for their proa, they involved the youth and the adult community to revive their boat building. So, is there a way that we could do this in the Philippine context? Maraming salamat po.
Hello, I'm Maynard. Actually, sa Butuan, merong maritime school doon. Ang kaso lang, ang boat na ginawa nila, yung mga itong western sailing boat, yung ginagamit nila na sailboat.
Mga gaff rig.
Mga training boat. Yun ang ginawa nila. I think what they should have done really, and I think, but they're planning to move out of that, is gumawa ng maliit na bangka. But I think sailing ito eh. Walang outrigger yung kanila eh. Walang outrigger eh.
Opo.
Yung katulad niya sa Manlayat Club, parang ganun ang sailing boat na ginawa nila. But, you know,
Bermudan sloop.
This is what, sloop. Maynard, this is what I've always been hoping. With all the impact and the crowd, and even DepEd was involved when we sailed around because they brought the children, elementary and high school, to meet us on the coast or in the port. Sana program should have been developed. Kaya, looking back, sabi ko mali yung pinasukan ko ng gobyerno ako eh. I should not been the OTC, sana sa DepEd ako. Kasi doon magsimula talaga sa education. And this is where it should start. Sa mga kabataan, sa mga elementary, that we have to teach them again to go back and love the sea. Hindi na takot sila sa dagat. It has to be, ang mangyari nito, Menard, institutional. It has to be the institution of the government that will have to start with this. And I don't know kung paano. Because si Father Luistro, is that yung dati, Father Luistro sa Lasal? Yung nag-DepEd secretary. No, I think he was starting that before because he was also enthusiastic about the Balangay. But hindi lang na keep up ang momentum. And this has to be, alam mo, kaya natin gawin. I'll give you an example. Yung Guimaras Regatta, it started in 1980. I was involved into that, just like I'm from Negros like itong Mascara in Negros. You know why we did the Mascara and then Mascara Festival and then Regatta, the Guimaras Regatta? Because in 1980, yung Don Juan na
lumubog.
Barko lumubog, and there was so much gloom. Iloilo and Bacolod yan eh. Iloilo and there was so much gloom and sorrow in the island of Negros and Panay. So we thought that just do something to keep up the spirit of our people. So thus the Mascara Festival started 1980, and then Regatta. Simple at the time. Yung si Tueng Herrera, yung mayor ng Urdan, was one of our partners and it started. But look at how the Guimaras Regatta right now. It's a huge activity now. So those are the effort. Kung hindi man ang institution like DepEd, local government has to do that because they have the resources. I think it can be done, Maynard, but it has to be done by institutions like local government and national government like the DepEd. It can be done. Actually, simple lang yan. Dali-dali yan eh. Yung Jungkong na yan. Actually, we encountered that when we're already going towards Indonesia. Sinabi sa akin ng mga Sama Badyaw, Sir, Jungkong yan, mga pirates yan, sir. Tinitingnan tayo. They're about a mile away. No, they're about a mile away. So, may mga field glasses din kami, teleskopyo, tinitingnan din namin sila, tinitingnan kami. At hindi sila lumapit sa amin, you know why? Because bare-chested kami, mabang balbas kami. We look more pirates than those pirates. Kasi mas mukhang pirata kami. So, it's not gain interest, sabi na mahirap na, baka mga totoong pirata talaga yun eh. So, hindi na lumapit sa amin. But I know I've seen that kind of boat. Yan tinuro ng mga Sama Badyaw sa amin. But anyway, what you're suggesting, kaya yun mga local government. You need the commitment of, actually you need a champion. Kami, Maynard, we just use our sports, yung pagka-adventurer namin, but to send a message, symbolic lang yung amin eh. Mount Everest symbolic. Kayang gawin ng Pilipino. Kaya nila. Ang dami Pilipino that is really kaya gawin yan. Ang di lang na kaya yung gastos. Talaga magastos. But in terms of skills, matagal lang tayo nakaabot dyan sa Mount Everest. Kung may resources lang tayo. The same thing with the Balangay. We can easily build boat. Natural ito sa atin eh. Of course, wala na tayong kahoy ngayon. Yun ang problema. So gagawa tayo ng boat. Yun na sana ang gusto kong gawin. Actually, ito Maynard, I've been top. Upuan ko pa, you saw the screenshot. ASEAN. May possibility I will sail again around the ASEAN because we're the host. So maybe some of you can meet me in some of the port. Will be possibility will be sailing again in the ASEAN countries for exchanges. Wow. This time with certain drama, trade, swap of flag, bring it back here, give it to the minister and ultimately the head of state, whatever That's what they're planning to do. Sabi ko, sige, if you have the resources, if you have the time, we can build. Kasi kailangan have to build another boat to do that. 2 boats that will sail. But it is still we're still sitting down discussing it.
Opo, sir.
Yeah.
So, sir, aabangan po
Thank you.
namin yung inyong muling paglalayag. At sir, sana po tayo po ay masuportahan po ng mga batikang dokumentarista, mga journalist, na mas lalo pong magpapatingkad doon sa posible na ito ay lumawig at lumaktaw pa sa mas madaming populasyon at talagang mabuhay po ang espiritu ng Balangay. Ngayon po,
Kung matuloy
mapunta po.
ito,
Yes, sir?
yes, ano lang. Kung matuloy ito, mas grabing impact nito because, siyempre, gobyerno, ASEAN, TV, tatlong TV station will be on the boat. Every day they will tell stories about the voyage. So, malaking impact yan. Kung matuloy yan, just a way of reawakening more our people about our maritime heritage. Of course, we're still sitting down and finding out if this is really possible.
That's
Okay,
right,
that's
sir.
our mark.
Sir, maganda rin po na suggestion ko lang po sir, dahil po sa henerasyon po ngayon ng mga kabataan, sila po ay mas nakaabang sa mga influencers na tinatawag nila. So, maaari po sana ilagay po natin sa equation. Kung gusto po nating ma-reach po ang mga kabataan, gamitin po natin ang platform na kung saan sila sanay sa henerasyon na to. Ngayon po, mapunta po tayo sa question po ni Sir Ike Sineres. Sir Ike, yes. Ano pong question po natin?
Yes, Ike.
You know I'm from Butuan, but I'm not the one who helped you. It was Ray, my brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I
Global
have two
Forum.
questions. Number one, ano na status yung panukalang batas ng Congress?
Alam, yung panukala,
Pangalawa,
nandun sa Senado na yun, naabutan ng COVID. Nang naabutan ng COVID, I cannot also go there. Kasi simple lang naman ang tanong ni Frank Direlon na hindi nasagot ni Gatchalian. Siyempre, siya Gatchalian ang sponsor. What is the difference between Balangay and Basnig? You know, ang Basnig, modern na yung pangisda lang yan. Common yun dito sa amin. Yung Balangay is common all over the country. It is called Barangay in Cagayan. Iba't ibang pangalan yan. But basically, pare-pareho lang yan. Sabi ni Judy, yung kay Lamang, meron dong story that sumakay sila sa Balangay. So, ayos na doon si Lawrence Forton, now the mayor, former congressman, pasado na sa Congress But nang dumating sa Senado, inabutan ng, ng COVID, hindi din ako makapunta. I was not able to fully discuss it with sa mga tanong ni Frank Direlon. So, floating somewhere.
kailangan na i-refile yun.
Yeah, refile. Kailan din.
Yeah,
Kaya ganun,
yun
ang status niya.
Pangalawang question, hindi ba pwedeng gawin yan parang Dragon Boat Race?
Dragon Boat.
Race? Yung karera ng barangay, gawin parang Dragon Boat?
Pwede din. Bugsay lang. Because mag-grade sila, pag-grade na sila they have smaller boat na ginagamit Alam mo yung ginagamit nila yung salipsipan, they call this salipsipan, smaller balangay, paddle lang lahat yun. So, actually, we can do that somebody has to sponsor yung balangay race, balangay, how do you call it? Balangay race, Dragon Boat race, what do you call it? Appropriate way to. But it can be, you built a smaller one and then paddle lang. Because nakita ni Pigafita na magdating siya dito, he saw a boat with 100 rowers on one side. Of course, because ilang outrigger, dalawang outrigger yan. But still, kahit hatiin mo yan, yung boat na yan will be no less than 30 or 40 meters. that is longer than Santa Maria ni Columbus at Trinidad ni Magellan. So, we have already, ang sabi nga na, we encountered itong mga Western sailor. How come we didn't hear so much about ganito pala yung ating history sa mga sakayan katulad ng Balangay? What they can hear is only about the Vikings. It's because puro oral tayo. Wala, we don't put it in writing. So, nangyari, nang dumatay ang mga Kastila, they eliminated hanggang namatay yung those mga carrier of oral history, and then ultimately there was nothing left.
Tama po yan, sir. Isa po sa mga disappointing pong aspeto ng ating kasaysayan, ako po bilang pong mag-aaral kahit po na elementary, nagtatanong po ako sa sarili ko, bakit ang history natin ay nagsimula ng pagdating ni Magellan? Bakit po wala sa aming mga naituturo ng kung ano po ang kasaysayan bago po dumating ang mga Kastila? So isa po siya talaga nakakalungkot na katotohanan. Sabi niyo nga po, sir, ito po ay nabaon, hindi na isulat kasi po ito po ay natabunan ng mga Kastila. Ayan po.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But
ngayon,
you look back at Rizal, you look up yung indolence of the Filipino people. Si Rizal look back beyond. Sabi niya, hindi pwedeng Pilipino na ganito, na we are no better than an animal and our brain is atrophied. We are better than that. So he researched Morga, ang mga writings sa mga pare, went to the London Museum, and then he came out that when the Spaniards came, according to the account nito, they saw us proud, regal in bearing, neat in looking. Pagkatapos with dress, may mga silk tayo, talagang respectable and confident as a people because we live through our trade and husbandry. And what happened to these people? What happened to this confident and regal and brave and respectable people? They were destroyed by colonialism. Kaya yung colonialism na yan, matinding impact niyan. And until now, grabing carry over niyan. That's why, para sana pag-aaralan lang natin si Rizal, we go back to what you have learned.
Tama po yan, sir.
This Balangay is an attempt. Yung Balangay naman, using our adventures, but attempt to re-educate and reawaken our maritime spirit. Yun. Mark.
Opo, sir. Salamat po. Mapunta lang po ako dito sa question po ni Sir Marvin Tejada. So meron po tayo two last questions. Sir, paano daw po nyo, meron po ba nangyari na pag-document sa mga archaeological findings doon sa mga coastal communities for cultural mapping? Na-document daw po ba natin ang mga maritime heritage, sir?
Alam mo, wala, kulang. Alam mo, ang isa sa naisip ko, kasi malaking debate dyan eh. Of course, I'm not from Butuan. Actually, Ilonggo ako. Ilonggo ang gumawa ng Balangay. But there's a big debate kung talagang yung ruta ni Magellan, kung talaga doon siya umabot sa Limasawa o sa kung saan yan. Ang gawin lang dyan, you look into the record ni Pigafetta. Tingnan mo ang mga coordinates niya. And then yun, hanggang ngayon, di pa nagawa yan. And the way sana gawin yan, about like the Balangay, na ikutan niya kung saan siya, when he landed in the Philippines, the first area na nag-drop anchor siya, meron yung coordinate at sequence si Pigafetta. Pag inikot mo yan, sinundan mo yan, lahat-lahat, maybe it will clarify some of the questions about ang ruta ni Magellan. Ganon.
Opo, sir. Opo, sir. Ito po, last question from our chat box from Mr. Mark Musuela Aquino. So, sir, during daw the navigation and yung inyong exploration, paano daw po na-handle ang aspeto ng seguridad at pangkalusugan? Kayo po ba ay may dala anything na pamprotekta tulad po ng weapons o armas? At nagdala daw po ba kayo ng medical supply and medical staff to handle emergencies?
Yung si Dr. Ted Isguera, sikat yan eh. Yun ang expedition doctor namin sa Mount Everest at sa Balangay. Siya yung doktor, marami siyang mga gamot na dinala. Sige pre, but I'll have to tell you honestly, 18 months of sailing around, hindi kami nakasakit. Ako hindi ko nakasakit.
Wow.
I can only talk about myself. But when we landed in Manila, after staying 2 weeks in Manila before we dispersed, doon ako nakasakit. But sailing around, we don't get sick. Now, but we have some incident. Ito si doktor si Raulo Nagka-kuan kami. One of my crew, toothache. Alam mo ginawa niya? Tinanggal niya toothache, ginamit yung plies. Ultimately, we have to go to the hospital. Siyempre na magang mukha, lahat-lahat. But we're able to manage and recover from that. There were some incident, but at times unbelievable. Ang incident when we were in Kuching, in Sarawak, when gin-dry dock namin yung boat because may mga butas. Tumama kami sa bahura So talagang tapala namin. So, one of my crewmen, umakyat doon sa taas sa mast, may inaayos. Nahulog siya. Nahulog siya talaga. Ang taas. Lumipad talaga. Tumama yung likod niya sa one of the malaking kahoy. Yung support. I was really shocked and ganito. But then we rushed it to the hospital and only to find out that he was fine. How do you explain that? Kita ko lumilipad Alam mo isa nito, Mark, at sumana kinig. Parang somehow when I built the boat, the spirit of our ancestors were so excited about it. I think they rode on the boat. Yung mga spirito, because sa totoo lang, what do we know about sailing? Natuto lang kami. And then, dire-diretso And then we sail around Southeast Asia. Hindi na natin kabisado yung mga tubig na yan. We encountered such mga challenging waters na yan with those big waves. But then how did we manage to go home? Because ako nagde-decide yan, Mark. Ako talaga as the leader, kung tuloy, hindi, ganun. Upon the advice of the mga team ko, lalo na yung mga Sama Badyaw, because kabisado ng dagat. Ang tingin ko, intuitively, the spirit of our ancestors were guiding me to come out with the correct decision because mapahiya sila. Mapahiya if something happened to us. I have many encounters of that. Minsan di kayo maniwala. Nang dalhin ko yung unang boat, yung Diwata ng Lahi, iangat ko dyan sa likod ng between the Coast Guard and Manila Hotel, iangat. Hinihila siya ng 6x6. Ayaw umangat Ayaw umangat talaga. So, hanggang the next day, lumubog yan. Ibig sabihin nag-capsize. So, ultimately, learning from the parapsychology ni Father Bolatao, nakikinig ako noon, may mga lectures yun sa Ateneo. I went there with a small box and talked to the spirit. Sabi ko, I decided to bring you to the museum because this is where the young will see your great accomplishment. Somebody was offering me, dalhin ko doon kay Kwan, sa Bagak. Sabi niya, sino ito? Yung dating National Housing Secretary, yung bahay, in Bagak, there is that mga ancestral, inipon niya doon. Art, I can take care of that. I know I can take care of that. But I left it, din ako sa National Museum because sabi ko when I talked with those on the boat, sabi ko, this is the only way that the young will be able to see your great accomplishment as a seafarer. Alam mo, the next day, pinump out namin ng tubig, hinila namin, tuloy-tuloy kami doon sa National Museum. I don't know how to explain that. But I think the spirit of our ancestors were there to intuitively guide me to make the right decision.
Tama po, sir.
Unbelievable.
Yes, sir, I think with the guidance of and with the guidance of our ancestors, sir, I think they are telling you na this voyage and this adventure and exploration and pride of being Filipino needs to have a second turn and a second chance. So, sir, with that, Ano lang sir, a question ko lang sir. Last
No.
question ko because you only have 7 minutes to go. Ano po sir ang nakikita niyong epekto, hindi lang po sa pagkalimot sa balangay, kundi sa iba pang aspeto ng ating kultura? Ano po ang nakikita niyong masamang epekto nito kung ito po ay tuluyang mawawala sa hibla ng ating pagkakakilanlan?
Alam mo, one of the results, yes. You know, one of the results who was losing that consciousness, maritime, look what happened
Yes, sir.
to the WPS. Look at how we dealt with WPS. Matagal na yan nandyan yan eh. Pinabayaan natin eh. Hindi ba? Because we don't have that kind of consciousness about our maritime domain. That a real wealth lies in our maritime domain. We're more water than land. Napabayaan
That's right,
natin
sir.
yan. Until ultimately, lumakas ang China and then they started to encroach it. Now, what will happen if we lose that maritime consciousness? If we lose that maritime affinity, which we have lost it already, then we're like balloon without an anchor. Ganon Filipino. That's why, you know what? What's the dream of every young Filipino? Finish college and go abroad. They don't have roots. When in fact, the roots is here. You have to bring them back and you have to let them go back to their past, as what Rizal said. Yun ang important. And that is what has to be taught in school. And mangyari lang yan if those who are in the grade school right now will be taught again, all over again, about our maritime consciousness. Without that,
That's right, sir.
we will all want to go abroad.
That's right, sir. So nakita po natin ang kahalagahan po. Tulad nyo nga, sir, kailangan pong mawala itong maritime amnesia. At sabi nyo nga, sir, tayo ay ma-reconnect sa ating long-lost memory. So sa mga
Yes.
tagapakinig po natin at sa mga makikinig pa po sa ating programa, ito po ay post natin sa YouTube. At sakaling ito ay mapadaan sa inyo at inyo mapanood sa mga susunod na araw o panahon, naway wag po natin kalimutan yung advice o yung binigay ni Sir Art Valdez na aral. Wag natin kalimutan na ito ay mabura sa ating hibla ng pagkakakilanlan. Kasi naniniwala po ko, Sir, lalo na po sa aspeto po ngayon ng ating lipunan, ang paglimot sa nakaraan ay isang matibay at malakas na sandata. Nagagamitin po ng mga taong ganid upang tayo ay malubog sa pang-aabuso. Totoo po yan, sir. Ang mga tao po nakakalimot at nalimutan nila ang nakaraan nila, sila po ay nagiging alipin ng mga taong mapang-abuso. So wag po natin kalimutan ang nakaraan at patuloy po nating pagyabungin ang ating kaalaman sa ating kultura at yakapin ang ating pagkakakilanlan. So with that, maraming salamat po sa pagsama po sa amin ngayong hapon. At ako po humihingi ng pasensya sa ating mga technical issues. At dahil po tayo may technical issues, atin na pong tatapusin ang ating programa kahit po walang end video. Again, Sir Art, maraming salamat po. At sabi ko sa inyo, sir, ang inyong pagkanta ay bahagi na ng ating kasaysayan. So have a great day, have a great weekend, and see you all again next week. Bye for now.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Bye-bye. Okay.
Bye-bye.